Hey everybody, welcome to the YoshiCast. I'm Yoshi. I am here with my very good friend and the best iOS developer I've ever met, Jason.
He doesn't get out much.
I'll put a link to his stuff at the bottom. We just got out of the Odeon Cineplex. We just saw Spider-Man Homecoming.
Mm-hmm. And home did he come.
And it's a nice night out, so we're going to walk. It's too fucking cold to stay still. First thoughts?
I liked it a lot. And now, I grew up with Tobey Maguire movies.
You did?
Yes. And then I never saw the Andrews films. The two Andrews films.
Oh, okay.
You have seen those?
I've seen them both. And I like the first one better than the second one. I liked it better than Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
And like is a good word. I think love is too strong of a word for this movie.
But you love the Tom.
I do.
Yeah.
You did a great job.
Yeah.
This is going to be a spoiler-filled review, guys. So if you haven't seen the movie, don't let us kill it for you. Come back and give a shit about what we have to say afterwards. But don't do it now. It's not worth it. Yeah. First of all, the best backstory. The backstory of Spider-Man has been covered so monotonously in all of the movies that their literal one-sentence cover of it was sufficient. It was absolutely great.
Yeah. Instead of spending half the movie like, oh, I got bit by a spider, and they're walking like we are, so I got bit by a spider. All right, moving on.
Right. God, where should we start?
Well, tell me about some of the names you were curious. You pointed out some names in the credits you wanted to talk about.
Oh, interesting that MJ was called Michelle in this. Now, I'm not the biggest comic book Spider-Man fan on the planet, but it's always been Mary Jane, from my understanding, not Michelle, who did a great job in that film. I thought I couldn't get enough of her, especially after she flipped everybody off at prom. Right. I couldn't get enough of her.
Yeah. Well, you were just digging like her the whole character vibe of her was, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. No, she didn't give a fuck. And very subtly at the end, let everybody know that she was crushing on Peter Parker. Mm-hmm. Daniel Glover.
Glover was in that.
Yes.
Where?
Not that Glover.
Okay.
The Glover from Community.
Okay.
He is a huge Spider-Man fan. He tried out for the role of Spider-Man when the original reboot came out.
Okay.
He didn't get it. But it was really nice. Everybody in the fandom knows that he's a huge Spider-Man fan. And he really wanted it in the movie. And it was so nice that he got that big of a role in the film. That was like a nod to the fans, I think.
Okay. Now, not knowing much of what went on in Andrews to Amazing Spider-Mans, I did catch a lot of the Tobey Maguire nods and or poke fun at, especially the elevator. I really dug the joke at the elevator when he saves everyone and he's like, now's the time, kiss her. Which is because the Tobey Maguire kiss is like the weirdest famous fan kiss upside down bullshit, right?
Right.
It's on for years. Everyone knows the upside down kiss. And I think they even put it into silly teen, not another teen movies, shit like that.
Right. But that was homaging a famous comic book scene too.
Okay.
That's why that came on. The fact that it looks awkward in the film was just bad acting.
Okay.
So when I told you when we were watching this film, like, oh, that's an iconic comic book cover. Mm-hmm. That's an iconic fucking comic book cover, and they did it well. So in the movie, Spider-Man is covered by debris and rubble, and they did such a good job of making it look and feel like the cover of Amazing Spider-Man 33, which is a cover I've been going after. You helped me try to find that at Emerald City this year.
Yeah, okay.
And now I'm sure that cover is going to be out of my price range for some time, because they did such a good job with that. That was such a nice nod. Michael Keaton.
Oh, he still got it.
That guy is a fucking actor.
Maniac,
fucking actor. He's the villain, but he wasn't like the Joker villain, so he didn't steal the scenes even when it was just him and Tom Holland. But holy shit, he let you know, like, don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
Like, you're the kid actor, I'm the guy actor.
No.
At least that's how it felt.
I miss him. He's the Batman.
He was I just saw him in The Founder, about McDonald's.
Yes.
That's a really good film.
It's on my list. I got that one.
Post-credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the second post-credit scene.
Yes. Worth it. Worth waiting
worth
for.
It, totally worth waiting for, but you have to see the film for it to make any sense. The first credit scene was...
It was just talking about how, he's not done. Keaton's not done.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
With
Keaton's
Spider-Man.
not done. Interesting how that played out, too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get the other guy he was talking to.
I only know him as Nacho from Better Call Saul.
Okay.
I don't know if he dropped the name while in the one scene that character was in, but it was definitely like he's a bad dude. He's got the hombres, and they want to know who Peter Parker is.
Yeah.
But Keaton's keeping that to himself.
Yeah, Keaton's going to be back, and he's too good of an actor not to bring back. He's the villain you love to hate.
Yeah.
Oh my God! And when you find out that he's Liz's dad, we both
Didn't see it coming.
Yeah, we were both like in the movie theater. We leaned to each other and like didn't see that coming. Like we should have, dude. We totally should have. But there was the movie had such a good clip about it. Like it never felt like there was a dull moment to me. They touched on a lot of the important points, but they didn't rub your nose in it. This is a very good version of Spider-Man where you get the sense that he's truly poor. He's one in like what, iPhone 3, maybe a 4. Oh my God! And thank you, Marvel, for not letting Sony make this a fucking a vessel for showcasing your products and just ad placement everywhere.
Was worried about the huge Dell onslaught because there was a pre-roll advertisement for Dell and like sponsored by the Homecoming movie or whatever. I was like, oh God, they're gonna put Dells everywhere.
Right.
They did use Dells, but they didn't make sure that the logos are always seen like Microsoft does.
Right. No, I think Marvel Studios just put the kibosh on that, which probably drove fucking Sony nuts. But thank you for not making this a product movie.
We don't need more Michael Bay movies where, God, if you've ever seen The Island, those MSN search phone booths, those worked out.
Yeah. or like any fucking Resident Evil movie is just Sony product placement, which we fucking, love those shitty movies, but they are product placement for Sony. How much do you know about Spider-Man?
Very little, actually.
Well, okay, so he's super poor, which the movie didn't rub in your face, but made you very aware of it.
Don't know how he got to go to that school, though. He must have some kind of tuition fee.
There were times where I felt like the school was poor, and I wondered why Liz was going to it.
Right. She definitely looked like the rich kid, but you remember when all the kids were in the hallway playing with their drones.
Yeah, that's true.
So they would look like a rich school. Everyone had toys, and everyone had their... Yeah.
That's true. I guess I didn't think of it that way.
So he was the poorest kid, but...
He was the poorest.
But I figure maybe Tony sent him to that school.
And Spider-Man's wicked smart. Like, he's on par with Tony or Reed Richards from Fantastic Four. He's just, maybe it doesn't come through because he's also a kid and he's just trying not to get beat up, essentially, which, they touched on. He got teased. I think in the comics he's teased way more.
Right.
And he just does a good job of biting his lip and not letting out like I can just own your ass.
And in the traditional style is he's that chemist, so they brought back the wrists, the shooters that were chemically filled with his own creation.
Yes. And I also felt like that was a nod to him being poor because he did a lot of that stuff, mixing up new serums for his web shooters at school.
He's in all the school's product and
little things too, like having the stash place under like a set of 20 lockers.
Now I don't know what they're going to go for. Is there already hints that there's going to be a Spider-Man 2, or are they going to try to just keep bringing him back into the Marvel as cameos like they did in Civil War?
I understand that he's going to that Marvel. The way I understand it is that Marvel said that they would help Sony produce 3 Spider-Man films. In exchange, they get to use Spider-Man in their Avengers films.
Okay. So they get to bring him in and still help make 3 Sony films. Now they're Sony Pictures, held by Columbia Pictures, done by Marvel Studios, which is different from when the Avengers are just Marvel, not Marvel Studios.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you know what? I don't know.
Okay,
we're getting into specifics.
I felt like the logo was different. It used to just be Marvel, and now it was Marvel Studios. It seemed like a different logo.
Right. Yeah, it was a good film. I really, it's definitely worth the 10, 20, however much you spend to see it. Jason had to come down from Seattle, and I had to come up from Bellingham to find a theater that was showing it in 2D because we really are sick of the 3D gimmick.
Now, I definitely know where they would have toyed with some 3D stuff, especially when it was more all CG, him in his suit flying around and everything can be computerized graphics. I'm sure that would be great if everything was generated in 3D. It's when they go in those real life scenes, hallways, kids everywhere talking real people.
Yeah.
They're rotoscoping out everybody because they're not using two cameras. They're shooting in 2D and then cutting everyone out like a diorama in a cardboard shoebox.
We talked about this a little bit before the movie started, I think. I think you would be able to count the amount of movies this summer that come out in 3D that were actually filmed with 3D cameras on one hand.
Right.
The 3D gimmick has failed, and it must be a cheap process to go in digitally afterwards.
There's a lot of people that you pay to sit at a computer and rotoscope every frame of your movie out. That is not cheap.
Oh.
It's definitely something being pushed down by the major picture association, or not the association, but
Whoever's doing
yeah, the companies behind making the films.
It won't.
But it's got to be probably cheaper than using a two-camera system. Because if Cameron's got like a patent on his camera, and then I think Red maybe invented a dual camera system, they're not rented cheap.
No.
And so that's where the trade-off is. Do you pay 50 people to rotoscope, or do you pay for the camera rental?
Until 3D looks like Captain EO at Disneyland, as opposed to what it feels like is when you go to a 3D movie now, there are 5 layers of depth. And if it exceeds or goes or under those 5 layers, you're not going to get that level of 3D. It just feels like, oh, there's a frame there. There's a cell here and a cell here and a cell here. It doesn't feel real. It hurts my eyes. What did you think about the 3D, or not the 3D, but the visual effects in this one?
This one was really great visual effects. It was a low attempt. They didn't go over the top with it.
They didn't. I felt like I think that there are times in this movie, probably a multitude of times, where visual effects are being used and we're just not seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
But when we are seeing it, it's just a hair below par.
Mm-hmm.
A great example of that is the Washington Monument scene.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing, that from start to finish, it just felt like somebody said, we're going to cut a few bucks here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's obvious, but I'm not bothered by it because the story was so good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, bad visual effects get a pass if the story is just off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not, it's just going to make it that much worse. You know?
Sure.
So, that's fine. That's fine. The story's good, so I'm okay with that. I think anytime Michael Keaton got attached or detached to his wings, it was bad.
Okay.
But again, it's a good story, so I'm okay with that. It's a comic book movie.
Could you tell when he looked like a 3D generated character and when he looked like Michael Keaton?
No.
Oh, okay.
I really couldn't. I did notice one part where like he was hovering or standing with his wings still on, and like the fringe on his coat was flapping in the wind. Mm-hmm. That looked obvious.
Okay.
The coat was
CGI. the fuzzy neckliner.
It was just a good movie. I kind of wouldn't mind seeing it again.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, let's go back in.
Stan Lee's cameo.
Yeah.
Good cameo, as always.
Yeah, better than his last one in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I
didn't see that one.
Okay, you haven't seen Guardians 2 yet. I felt that was still a cameo, but it was like, I don't know, it wasn't as funny as his usuals. He's really always got this hilarious quip about his character. I mean, probably my favorite is Ant-Man's cameo.
Oh, really?
I actually just for some reason love the Ant-Man scenes where they zoom to each character, but they're all voiced by that one. I forget the actor's name, but they're always just voiced by the other guy.
Yeah.
And so they're being like voice dubbed. So Stan Lee, I don't think you ever hear Stan Lee's voice in Ant-Man because he's just there and being dubbed by the other guy.
Right.
It just makes it even funnier.
I guess it's worth saying that, you know, it wasn't like stocked footage of Captain America. They actually filmed some stuff with Captain America, so he's in there. Gwyneth Paltrow's in there. Happy's in there a lot.
John Favreau.
Ooh, we should talk about Spider-Man's identity. How did that seems to be a big thing. Like, either a lot of people know who you are, Tony Stark, or they don't know who you are.
Right.
The way I understood it, like, Aunt May suspected Spider-Man was Peter Parker, but in this film, at the very end, very well done.
Yeah.
She realizes who Spider-Man is.
I think he can still get out of that.
You think so?
Now, it was funny how they delivered that discovery, but where they leave the audience, I think he can still get out of that. And if I were in Peter Parker's shoes, I'd be like, no, it's just a Halloween costume.
And then the kid, his best friend, I think that's all new. I think, like, who he is,
the new best friend guy.
Yeah, who he is, and it almost seemed like Mary Jane's personality was an extension of him. Like, that was two characters, or one character split into two, almost. And maybe it's not, but those two were like, the best friend was more of the comic relief, and Mary Jane was like sarcastic comic relief. And I could see those two being married as one character originally. So maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but...
Now, in some of the comic books, is Mary Jane supposed to have known his identity and be the chair guy?
That also... No, never the chair guy as I recall, but there were versions, I believe, of Mary Jane who suspected, and then versions who just knew.
Okay.
But not a lot of people knew who Spider-Man was, which is good, which is a good thing. That's pretty close to canon, I feel. See it. See it. You guys who are watching YouTube who just want to see if the movie's worth seeing and you don't trust Rotten Tomatoes, go see it. It's worth your money. It's worth your money. The film starts off, you know, Peter Parker's jonesing. He's almost bummed out because he's so, like, was such a big part of the whole Avenger Civil War thing, which they go into in great detail. That's a little nod, I think, to Peter Parker's past, where he used to be or was a photographer for the Daily Bugle, because that whole first act was him videographing everything. So yeah, the first act, he's reliving Civil War, and he's like depressed because Tony Stark and Happy won't give him the time of day. You know, they prove at the end of the film, like, we were keeping very close tabs on you, but they sure don't make him.
Well, yeah, they feel like he needs to grow up. He is a kid, and probably the youngest Spider-Man so far filmed, as he was Amazing Spider-Man, 15-year-old.
See, that's the thing. The canon Spider-Man, or what I feel is like the original Spider-Man, he was a kid. He really was a dirt poor kid, just wicked super smart, which this movie holds true to. And it's a funny movie. It is definitely... we laughed several times. What was your question?
Well, it's just how often is he portrayed as a younger or the older? Because Tobey Maguire was like a senior. The movie started with him basically getting out of high school and starting to work in the career world. Right. Whereas this one, he's only a sophomore. He's got 2 more years to go in high school.
He does. And the movies, you know, in the comic books, you know, they span many years. I mean, they let him grow up a bit. But originally, he's just a kid. And when he joins the Avengers, that's like the comments. Like, you're just a fucking kid. Like, what are you doing here? So, they've got a fine line to walk to keep the balance, and they did a really good job. And he gets in over his head in second act. You know, he's taking off more. He's doing his best. And Tony comes in and makes him feel like shit about it.
But I like you were saying earlier, it really did a tribute to not only because I haven't seen the art about that scene, but his growing moment, when Tony tells him it's not the suit that makes you the man.
Right.
And he has to reel that while basically being crushed to death.
Yeah, it definitely.
That's a wake-up moment.
It definitely added to that Amazing Spider-Man 33 cover. It just gave it so much more depth. Because originally, when that issue, I'll have to show you pictures when we get done with this. But originally, when that issue was done, Jack Kirby would just draw out the comic, and then Stan Lee would go in and write in the words. So they added so much more to that scene that I just loved it. I fell in love with the movie right then and there.
Yeah. And I do like that moment in most movies gets usually attributed mid-battle. Like, you're getting your ass completely whooped, and then the enemy's got you pinned against the wall, and then you get that aha, I need to grow up and put my big boy pants on, and then you win the battle.
Right.
I like that wasn't the situation here.
Right.
Because the battle was over. He was left for dead.
He was left for dead.
And he had time to understand what he needed to, how he needed to be, how he needed to act, how he needed to change.
Tiny bit cheesy, but still fucking cool. Still fucking. In the comic though, like he like up and falls and up and falls and up and falls, and they didn't milk it to death. Thank goodness. They did it really good. I know one of the concerns I had, and I think Bo had, was that the plane scene was just a ridiculous, over the top special effects. This is why people are going to see the film. I felt like that wasn't the case. The trailer makes it look like that.
Okay.
The film, I didn't feel did that. I felt like that was okay.
Yeah.
That was also a scene where you could tell there was a lot of CG, but the story was good. I was okay with it.
Yeah.
I was totally okay with it.
Well, I mean, when you got the Vulture in outfit and Spider-Man with his helmet on, and then the plane's retro-reflective, the whole thing has got to be CG.
Yeah.
Not
absolutely.
one of that is hardly green screen unless they get a close-up of Keaton, and then maybe he's on a face screen.
Yeah. God, that plane was on autopilot the whole time. That seemed weird to me. Like, have a sheriff, a flight marshal, or somebody on that plane just in case.
No, Tony Stark leaves way too much up to automation.
Yeah, he does.
And just sit back with your tea, like, yep, the plane's on target, and the robots are doing just fine.
Right. And there are cheesy parts. There are parts like. Just one of a multitude examples is when the Vulture grabs Iron Man's mask and hucks it around like it's a piece of stupid tech.
Yeah.
Like, no, he wouldn't do that. But, it was a nod.
But at the same time, it was, what Vulture thinks of Iron Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You take that into play as, like, this showboat.
Right.
Toss the mask because he's a fucking showboat.
Right, exactly.
And I'm the hard middle working class guy just trying to... But I've got a cool Vulture suit, so,
Right. God, it was a good movie.
How do you be middle class and be able to,
Well,
lift?
he's beyond middle class. Now, he works like he's a middle class, but he doesn't live like he's middle class. He lives like he's in Beverly Hills. And that's part of why you don't suspect him being Liz's dad. Mm-hmm. You just that through every... Like, I expected another boy to be there. Like, you knew something was going to happen. Like, oh, she asked somebody else out.
Well, and they did hint to his wife, but they didn't show who his wife was, which would have given it away.
Yeah.
So you just knew that he had a wife.
Right.
You didn't know he had a kid.
No.
Or I think that would have given it away. It was like, oh, the wife wants you to pick up your daughter, and you would have put that together.
Yeah. They had to do a lot in this movie, and they touched on all the aspects of Spider-Man at some point. I felt like the whole where he was flying through the yards and hitting, and Ferris Bueller was playing in the background. They were hitting on so many quirks of Spider-Man in the comics is super funny.
Okay,
he really is, and he is in the movie. He's not. I feel like the bar has been set by Deadpool, but Spider-Man's not that kind of funny. He's a different kind of funny.
Yeah. The Deadpool's the raunchy funny, and
exactly.
Peter Parker's quirky funny.
Right. And the way he uses New York City to get around New York City, not just web slinging. He's riding cars, he's riding dump trucks, he's riding the train.
Yeah, so that actually made a really good. I love the scene where he couldn't get around when he was in the suburbs.
Yeah. When he hit the golf course and then the sprinklers came on. He's like, right after they had the discussion of how far will your web slingers go? Not that far.
Not that.
It was good times.
Yeah, Spider-Man can't dangle from buildings. How does he get around? He does not. But I'm looking forward to the new Spider-Man game. can't believe it's going to take another year for
I
them to
gotta
come.
walk. I'm a pussy. I'm getting cold.
Okay. No, they're not going to come out with that game until maybe next summer. Like, how do you miss the ball on that one? The movie comes out, you make the game launch. I mean, Insomniac's a good company, but were they not given the green light to go ahead with the movie?
You know,
Early enough?
I feel like that game, and I don't know if it's going to, but they really got to nail the online component of that game.
Is that why it's gonna take-
I'm guessing because it's like you know what is it oh shoot what's
the DC Online and all that crap?
no, that's a shitty game. What's a good single player game? The Last of Us.
Okay.
No.
Well,
Is that The Last of Us?
Yeah, The Last of Us with the zombies.
Yeah, like great game, and you might play it twice or 3 times between the time you bought it and when the sequel comes out, but you don't have that replayability. Beyond that, you don't have the potential of making more money like you do in Grand Theft Auto.
Okay. Now, had you played Spider-Man 2 after the launch of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2?
No.
Because that one, I'm pretty sure, was the Rage engine. They used Grand Theft Auto's engine.
Okay.
And then added WebSling. And so now, that's why I'm looking forward to this next Spider-Man game, kind of bringing just that sandbox playability back.
Right.
You can decide to go beat up those thugs or go fix that crime. You know, all these things are just happening, and you're in a big sandbox, so you choose what you want to do.
Yes.
I mean, heck, in that game, you can just choose to deliver pizzas all day.
Yeah.
You don't have to fight.
Right.
You don't have to fight any bad guys. You can just deliver
Which
pizzas.
is stuff Peter Parker would do.
Yeah.
You know, that made me think of the suits that were in this movie, because the suit in the video game was so drastically different from the main suit in this movie. The main suit felt like an homage to 2 generations of Spider-Man. You got the back with the giant blue spider, and you got the front with the small black spider, which just homages 2 different versions of the suit in one that's been throughout the comics. The suit he was shown by Tony at the end of the film,
fucking gold plated.
it made me it made me think of the metallic suit he was given, a silver metallic spider suit in the comics. And I don't know why. Maybe just because it felt metallic-y in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm glad he didn't go with that suit. I'm very glad.
Well, was that just a nod to that illustration, or will it come back?
It wasn't even a nod to that illustration. That's just what it made me think of.
Okay.
And in the comics, Tony Stark, if I remember correctly, Tony Stark made that suit. So they're milking that aspect of the storyline for all of Spider-Man's suits.
Okay.
But he just made this one suit that Spider-Man didn't wear very long.
Yeah.
Because it was just uncomfortable, I guess.
Okay. Strikes me as though what that one will be, but I
like the suit in the video game better than that last suit in the movie, which he didn't go with. So don't stress out about that. But
will he go with it if he's like in outer space and then has to fight some purple monsters?
Maybe. And I'm sure what's going to happen in the next Avengers movie or whatever movie he comes back in, it's going to be like, Tony's going to call him and be like, we really need you. And he's like, yeah, I can give you a weekend.
Yeah.
Because he basically said at the end of the movie he needs to be a kid a little bit longer. He's going to do the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man thing. Good use of the original cartoon theme song. Geek knowledge here, everybody. So the cartoon in the 80s, 90s, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man cartoon, was voiced by Dan Gilvezan. Spider-Man was voiced by Dan Gilvezan.
Okay.
The reason I know this and the reason I give a shit about this is because Dan Gilvezan voiced the original Bumblebee in Transformers.
Okay.
So it would have been nice in this movie if they had just given him a part, given him something to do. Just another nut beyond the fucking theme song.
Yeah.
Just let him do. And maybe he was, and I missed it. But it would have been nice. We're gonna have to IMDb this shit afterwards. But it also, I'm also pissed that they didn't use him for the voice of Bumblebee in the last Michael Bay movie.
Okay.
Spoilers. Security's gonna be on us here.
He might. He's like, what the fuck are you kids doing?
Yeah.
Stop casing the joint or casing the target.
Just a rent-a-cop making more money than you. Let's see.
Hey there.
How's it going?
Oh,
You're not taking video of the mall or anything?
oh yeah.
We're doing a review of Spider-Man.
taking video of us.
As long as you're not doing anything involving the mall, by all means.
Okay.
All right.
Be safe driving or walking through here though, because people whip around this corner pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Our cars are still at the mall. We're gonna come grab them.
Okay, just be careful right around here because we've had a few accidents out here.
Okay.
And I really don't want to do the paperwork to get hit by a car.
Right. Not my life is the issue. Paperwork.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to do paperwork, period, if I can avoid it.
Gotcha.
Y'all have a good night.
You too.
I really wanted to tell him I was casing the joint, but he actually has to be like, oh shit, now I have to write some paperwork.
Right.
But you're gonna search him up on IMDb, see if he had any part in here.
Yeah.
Because you think maybe they put him in the background and gave him a cameo.
One thing I noticed I had a hard time with, like, they didn't say, I don't recall, or I just have a shitty memory, they didn't say everybody's name. Like, who's the Vulture's actual name in the film?
Oh, good point.
You know, who's... yeah, I even had to ask you, that's not Mary Jane. No, that's Liz or Liv
Right.
or whatever. You had to correct me on that.
Because the first thing you want to know, if you know the comics, you're like, oh, okay, he's got the crush on the Mary Jane.
Right.
So, and yeah, I was like waiting for the drop. The Mary Jane name is like the 3 or 4 characters said Liz, and so I caught on that
Right.
part, but you hadn't.
But I don't know the best friend's name.
Oh Jesus, you're
Yeah,
right.
I don't know the best friend's name. Yeah, I mean, there was just... Couldn't tell you anybody in the academic decathlon. Oh, who was that one? Fuzz or Fizz or...
Flash.
Flash. Couldn't tell you that.
Yeah, Flash is the bully, even though he's not a kind of...
You know, we said that thing about it, this not being a marketing tool for Sony, finally. But I do realize now that phone, the iPhone that they used, was heavily in one of the fucking Otter Seal rock cases to keep it from any Apple anything or anything.
Yes.
But it was. I mean, the OS was that. Tony Stark controlling one of the Iron Man suits via sunglasses. If there's Wi-Fi.
Which, it doesn't surprise me because of Iron Man 3. I mean, all his suits were so fully automated.
There's something we have to look up after we're doing this recording. The Spider-Man's suit's voice is somebody. It's like either whoever did Jarvis, it's his wife or somebody. There's a geeky little tie-in.
The suit's voice or the interrogation voice?
The suit's voice.
Suits. Oh, yes, right.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of comic like the suit wants to murder everybody. It's like that's the default mode. He hasn't gone through and said any. So the suit, yeah. So there's a scene in the movie, which we've seen in the trailer, where I'll probably play the trailer on the thing. There's a scene in the trailer that everybody's seen where the training wheels protocol is on the suit, and then what was the other protocol? Baby monitor. Because the suit visually records everything and is sending it back to start. So that's the baby monitor protocol. It just pisses off Peter Parker to no end that he's being treated like a child.
But yeah, you take the safety the training wheels off, and now the suit becomes a weaponized Iron Man suit, basically.
Yeah.
Like, why does Peter Parker doesn't even need to be in the damn thing?
Right. But now, I also think that now that the suit is unlocked, like, it's going to remind you need to reload the parachute, buddy. That was important. The drone on his chest, corny but cool.
Yeah.
The trailer made the Staten Island ferry thing seem corny, but it wasn't. That played out really well.
Yeah.
The bank scene, like, the trailer doesn't do that scene justice, I think. I feel like that got really well done when you put it in the context of that scene in the movie.
Well, yeah, the trailers just want to deliver the jokes to make the movie feel like it's a...
The trailer actually has parts that aren't in the movie. Like, there's a scene where he says, like, Thor gave it away. Like, that's not in the movie.
Yeah.
That bugs me. I hate when they do that. I really do.
Yeah, the B-roll cuts.
The B-roll cuts. But great film. 5 stars, would see again. You too?
Yeah, I would see it. I'd rent it from Redbox.
Yeah.
Still looking forward to the Infinity Wars probably the most. I'm not sure how excited I've been about Black Panther.
Black Panther is probably going to be good in the way that I feel Luke Cage was good.
Okay.
Luke Cage just, like, I didn't expect that style of directing, that style of story, and it was good. I would have been nice in this movie or any of the movies, because in the Netflix shows, what is it? The CW show, I forget the name of it. They make nods to the movies constantly. It would be nice if the movies did more nods towards the TV shows, you know.
Gosh, at the rate this stuff writes, though, because a movie's in production for 2 to 3 years, and those television shows, I swear they have a much smaller production cycle.
Yeah, well, they can also do a thing. You know, they could just bring those actors in for a spit scene. You know, they don't have to. Just a sec. You don't need a whole lot. You don't need a whole lot at all.
But yeah, still can't remember what else is going to lead up to the Infinity Wars. Now that we're kind of nearing the end, and that's going to be 2018, I think. We've seen all of the Infinity Stones.
It's going to be a cut scene probably in Black Panther that's going to tie it into the next Infinity movie. Oh, and there's Thor. Thor's coming out.
There's going to be another Thor?
Yeah, Thor's on its way out. So you got Thor and Black Panther.
Okay, yes, there is one more Thor.
Oh, I think we've kind of touched on all the key points. It's hard when you're sitting here, like, the movie's good, you're gonna like it, like, there's nobody that's not gonna like it, but trying to replay every single little bit is really hard. But it was a good film. I think that's it. Yeah, cool. Thanks for coming.
Good movie night.
Very good movie night. Let's go over this way.
We just keep talking.
Thanks for coming, Jason.
All right.
And you know, the two of us are geeks about this stuff. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you think about it. And yeah, we'll talk there. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
This is where Google is going to put up the little things for you guys to click on and subscribe or whatever. But in all seriousness, comment below and let us know what you thought of the movie, because this is a spoiler review and I want to talk about it. Other than that, take care, everybody. Bye.